Hey everyone, and thanks for joining me this morning on Big Ten Talk live with me and BJ Rains, who is a Boise State beat writer, show host, and publisher for the Bronco Nation News and 24/7 Sports. How are you doing this morning, BJ?
Well, I mean, if you look at the view here, I'm doing just fine, I guess. So, yeah, happy to be in LA. Got the press conference today, hoping to get a chance to interview Rob Gronkowski and we'll talk to the coaches, and then we got the game tomorrow. So excited to be here and talk some football with you. Appreciate you having me on.
No, thank you so much for joining me. And absolutely, you must be making people jealous with that view behind you. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And how, kind of just like your general thoughts and views on this game. This is the last LA Bowl, as we learned yesterday. And kind of what is exciting you about this particular matchup between Boise State and UW?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Obviously, the regional part of it was Seattle and Boise only being about an 8-hour drive, and a lot of folks live in, they have lived one city or the other, and no folks that went to Washington or Boise State or whatever, and they've played in the past in some bowl games, some regular season games. You throw in Coach Chris Peterson going from Boise State to Washington, and that whole side story there, and so there is a lot of familiarity. I think they've played 6 times in the last 12 or 13 years. They're scheduled to play again in a couple of years up in Seattle. They just played, I think, last year, the year before, when Washington went to the playoff. It was season opener was there in Seattle. So the programs have some history and have played, and it's a unique matchup. I think the fact that it's the first week, right? You just roll right into bowl week here, I think makes it a little more competitive game, a better game. You don't have the big 3-week layoff. You don't have guys opting out. You don't have guys going home with their families and then kind of losing interest and coming back and not being focused. I mean, Boise State had their championship Friday night and was right back into game week the next morning. So I think that's and Washington only had 1 week off themselves. So I think you're not seeing as many guys opt out. You're going to see teams focused. They're excited to get the game over with before Christmas, and they know they have that big break coming. So I think it's going to be a very competitive, good game. And yeah, it's a little disappointing to see the LA Bowl ending. But you go from the Vegas Bowl, and then this turned into the LA Bowl when they redid the Vegas Bowl and moved that to Allegiant Stadium. But it's been a nice home for the Mountain West champion to go to the last 5-6 years. This is Boise State's second appearance in the last 3 years in this game, and it's to play in an NFL stadium, play on ABC, play on national TV against a good opponent, an 8-4 Washington team, a 9-4 Boise State team. I mean, it's two good teams, and folks are going to watch the Heisman Trophy ceremony, then just stay on ABC and watch this game. I mean, I think it's going to be big viewership, and I expect it to be a pretty competitive game between two solid teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I find it to be a really fascinating matchup between these two teams and two teams who had pretty good seasons. And like you just said, Boise State won their conference championship game in impressive fashion last week. So, what, in your opinion, what kind of gives Boise State the edge to beat the Huskies in this game?
Well, I'm not sure they have the edge. I think it's going to be a tough game for them. But, I think certainly, like I said, Boise State's got the momentum rolling. Won the championship, got right into game week. They got a chance for a 10th win. I mean, they didn't have the season they wanted to have. After going to the playoff last year, they wanted to get back to the playoff again this year. It was pretty much playoff or bust. Those were the goals for this team, to get back to the college football playoff. They had a horrendous, first loss of the season to South Florida in the opening game that really kind of derailed a lot of those goals. And then they went to Notre Dame and didn't play great, but only lost by 21, actually hung around for a good part of that game. And then, had a quarterback go down and lost to Fresno, and he went down in the middle of the game, lost in a rainstorm with a backup quarterback to San Diego State. And they're just kind of playing out the strings thinking, man, are we going to be able to even finish 6-6 here? And they go on this kind of miraculous late season run, win their last 2 games, get to the championship game, get their starting quarterback, Maddox Madsen, back, win the championship, 3rd championship in a row on the way to the Pac-12, and all of a sudden they're riding high. 3 wins in a row. They're now 9-4, and I think to get to a 10th win, to finish off for the senior class, with a bowl win. They've struggled against the Power 4 teams of late. I think they've lost like 9 in a row to Power 4 teams, which is something they used to always, dominate and take care of, and that's how they became a national program. So they have a lot of motivating factors in this game, but I just think the momentum and the confidence they're playing with right now after winning that championship, and like I said, not taking a break, just rolling right into game week, I think they're feeling really good about themselves, and they have a chance to finish this on a really high note. But once you get down to the X's and O's and the Jimmies and the Joes, it's going to be a tough battle for them, because Washington certainly has a lot of talent and played a pretty tough schedule this year. And I think 8-4, they're better than most 8-4 teams when you look at the teams that they lost to. So I think it's going to be a tough game for Boise State, but I do think they're riding high with some momentum right now that could go a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. And from a Big Ten perspective, and for those kind of listening and watching who are fans of the Big Ten and perhaps fans of Washington, who are some key players on the Boise State squad that they should keep their eye on and look out for?
Well, well, certainly the running attack is, their offense is based around the running game, and they don't maybe have one kind of Ashton Genty type from last year that ran for 2,600 yards, but they've got kind of a three-headed attack here, and really kind of a two-headed attack. But Dylan Riley is a sophomore, went over 1,000 yards rushing this year, was second team All Mountain West, had a really, really nice season. I voted him first team All Mountain West. He was right there on the cusp, but 1,000-yard rusher. And then Sire Gaines rushed for 700 and something yards himself. So they've got two really good running backs that can do a lot of different things. Malik Sherrod is a third running back, a transfer from Fresno. He's a very quick, shifty guy. He's very dangerous in the screen game and some of the things where they get him in space. So for all the talk about the quarterback, and I'll get to him in a second, I mean, this offense really is designed around a big, physical, veteran offensive line. They've got a potential first-round draft pick at left tackle in Cage Casey. If he's not a first-round pick, he'll be day two for sure, second round. So the left tackle, the left side of the line, Boise State is feels very good about in terms of having some NFL talent on the offensive line, and then you throw a good running game behind them. That's kind of where this offense is based. Wide receiver position's been a little bit of a struggle for him this year at times, but Maddox Matson, the quarterback, as I said, led this team to a college football playoff appearance last year, and came back and got hurt and missed a couple games. And I think there were some fans that maybe in Boise weren't the huge fans of Maddox Matson. He's a solid quarterback, but some fans thought maybe they could aim a little higher. And then he went out and they realized, okay, actually he wasn't that bad compared to, who else is on the roster. And they struggled at quarterback for a couple games when he was out. The backup, Max Cutforth, actually came back and played great in his last game to help them get to the championship game. But it's clear that Maddox Matson's the best quarterback on the roster and the veteran, and has been starting for multiple years now. And so he's a solid quarterback. I think he only has 3 or 4 interceptions. He's not going to throw a lot of interceptions, not going to make a lot of bad plays. He just, he's going to just make the solid play when he needs to. And so offensively, yeah, that's where it kind of starts, is the running game and the offensive line. And then, Madsen can make some throws when he needs to. And I would just say quickly as I ramble on defense, Ty Benefield, safety number 0. He's got a decision to make about leaving early for the NFL himself. He's an NFL player at some point here. Ty Benefield, the safety number 0. Secondary has been pretty solid all season long as well. And they've got some edge rushers and the pressure up front. The one weak link at times has been the linebacker position for Boise State. Maybe have underachieved a little bit there, but they like the group up front, and the secondary's played pretty well. And this defense as a whole has, the second half of the season really played pretty well. And the defense has really stepped it up later in the season and been a big reason why they're able to reach a championship game.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely great and super informative and helpful for those who maybe haven't watched Boise State as much as they've wanted to this season. And kind of flipping sides here for a moment, from the Boise State side, who are some key players that you've been writing about, talking about this week in preparation for this game, for people on the Boise State side and fans and kind of just general spectators of this game in general to keep an eye on for UW?
Well, I know the quarterback, Williams Jr., I mean, it kind of starts with him. Obviously, he can do it through the air. He can do it on the ground as well. I mean, but Boise State has actually done pretty well against mobile quarterbacks this year. I mean, Calandria, the UNLV quarterback, is a mobile guy in the championship game. They kind of shut him down for the most part. But yeah, I mean, almost 3,000 yards passing, what he's done through the air and the threat that he is to take off with the ball is something they're really focused on. And, they got a strong running attack, as I mentioned as well, with Jonah Coleman and what he's done running the ball. I think almost 5 yards per carry. So, I think they feel like they've got a lot of high-end talent on this Washington team. And like I said, maybe if this game was 3-4 weeks from now, Washington might have had a guy or two decide to opt out or move on to the NFL. I mean, they've got multiple NFL draft picks on their roster, but when this game is only a week later, a lot of these guys are like, hey, we'll stick it out for one more week. Let's finish this and get another trip to LA and finish this with our brothers. And I think that really is helping Washington here, because they probably, it sounds like all their guys are going to play. And they certainly had some guys that nobody would have blamed them if they didn't. So I think that the talent level, I mean, it's a Big Ten team. It's Washington. Like, that's what you would expect them to have 4-star, 5-star guys, NFL players on their roster. And that's, I think, and that's where at times Boise State has struggled, because now with the NIL and just the gap with some of these Power 4 teams is growing a little bit. The talent gap, you just see the last 9 games Boise State's lost to Power 4 teams, where that talent gap is. And Boise State's built on out scheming you and out, shifting and motioning you. And when it gets down to just me versus you, a lot of times there's more talent on the other side, and I think Washington certainly has the talent advantage in this game. But we'll see how that kind of evens out once you put 11 on each side.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm kind of throwing this at you without any preparation, but do you have a score prediction for this game? If you don't, we can totally just bypass that
Yeah, I
question.
mean, I know the spread's what, 8 or 9 points. I mean, I think Vegas
Right.
thinks they thinks Washington's going to win this one. I do think Washington, and I know there's probably some folks that found this from Boise watching this that don't want to hear this, but I mean, I do probably think Washington's the better team, and I think Washington probably. It's hard for me when like I said, I've seen it 9 times in a row now where Boise State's played in a game like this and just not been able to find a way to win. I would love to see Boise State find a way to win this. By no means am I going to be, rooting for Washington to make my prediction right or whatever, but I think Washington probably finds a way to win this game. I just think that they have more talent. They're the better team. And I think their 8-4 record, like I said, is a little almost scary when you think about their losses being to Oregon and to Ohio State, and then a close game at Wisconsin and losing at Michigan. Like they don't have a ton of great wins. I know they beat Illinois. When they were ranked. I know they don't have a ton of great wins, but even all their losses are to really good teams. So I think this is a really good Washington team. I don't think it's a great matchup for Boise State. I'm going to probably go somewhere like 31-21. How about that?
That sounds great. Awesome. And kind of just like a fun question. I imagine this isn't, you've been covering Boise State. So you've been to LA before for the LA Bowl, because as you mentioned, they played in this not very long ago. What's your favorite thing about being in LA and about Southern California?
We went down to Manhattan Beach last night and had dinner and got a chance to see the pier and the beach. And anytime
Yeah.
someone from Boise, Idaho, you get to go see the beach and the pier. And we had a nice dinner down there and talked to some folks and watched the Thursday night football game last night. So, always, I don't love the traffic, don't love the Uber prices. There's certainly a lot of things that aren't great about it. But I'm also a St. Louis Rams fan way back in the day. So anything to do
Oh,
with
cool.
Stan Kroenke and kind of stealing the Rams back to LA kind of still has me frustrated. So I don't know if I can sneak into his suite tomorrow and do something. I don't know. I'm just having fun. But so that from a personal level, seeing the St. Louis Rams, Super Bowl championship banner hanging in the LA Rams stadium doesn't kind of sit well with me. But LA is fun. It's a great stadium. Going to be a great game. It's beautiful weather. I mean, it's actually been pretty nice in Boise the last couple of days, but it's 75 degrees right now. You see the palm trees, the blue sky. I mean, who could complain about getting a work trip down to LA for a couple of days? So I'm excited to be here, excited to cover the game. And while I do think Washington probably finds a way to win this game, I do expect it to be a pretty competitive game and a fun, exciting game on both sides.
Totally agree. I am really excited for this matchup. I think it's going to be an entertaining and competitive game. And I do so appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk to me and kind of preview and talk about this game a bit, especially being on location. And thank you so much. Can you tell people where they're able to find you, kind of keep up with your content?
Yeah, right here on the BroncoNationNews.com is the website, BroncoNationNews.com. I'm on Twitter as well, at BJ Rains, my name right there, Rains. And so, I've watched a couple of your other shows. Emily, you do a great job with these preview shows, and appreciate you picking me to come on today, and happy to do it. And I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow.
Thanks so much, BJ. Have fun. We'll talk soon.